My wife cheated and lost. Gonna preface this by stating that this happened 3 years ago. This isn't a throwaway account, but fake names will be used. Let's start with the frame of this story. I, 27M, grew up like most guys under the assumption that the one is out there. That if you play your cards right, your soulmate will magically appear and you'll ride off in the sunset. When I was 19, I met a woman. Let's call her Bree. I met Bree through mutual friends while I was in the army. Bree was cute, quirky, seemed like an overall good girl. Her friend, let's call her Sam, thought it would be a great idea to get us together as a couple. Not sure what her reasons were, but I was into her and she was into me. Bree was up for a few days visiting Sam, and I had just gotten back from leave in my home state, so the meetup was inevitable. We all had lunch. Myself, Bree, Sam, and Sam's husband, let's call him Jim. This meetup was nothing spectacular, but after Bree had flown home, she messaged me on Facebook, and we hit it off. After roughly 3 weeks of talking to Bree, she hit me with a very strange question. If I was pregnant, what would you do? Now, before I get to my answer, let's do the math here. She was in her party years and slept around frequently. I found that out way later in the relationship. She had a boyfriend a month before meeting me. I was adopted, so accepting a kid as my own seemed like a no-brainer. My answer was what seemed like the right thing. I will love that child as if it were my own. Well, turns out she was showing a lot of signs of pregnancy. A week later, she took the test and was positive. I stood by my word. I'll take care of this kid. There was a 3-month gap between this revelation and when she decided to fly out to me. During this gap, she was very flaky, trying to see if she could get who she thought was the dad to commit and help her take care of the kid. He never budged. She chose me instead. Yes, I understand now why staying with her was a bad idea. I was dumb, in love, and I believed she was the one and that she'd come around eventually. I married her so that the army would cover the birth and the rest should have been history. But we all know it wasn't. Year 2. 2 years, and I noticed something a bit strange. Some guy, we'll call him Ron, was liking every post she put out and commenting on every photo that had the daughter in it. And this seems odd. At this point in our marriage, I had gotten out of the military and was working a job in security. One night while working, my lizard brain connected the dots and the gut feeling followed. Now, I'm not one to act on just suspicion, I need proof. Given that I was working a nightclub that night, I would get off at 4 in the morning. She'll be asleep. She leaves her laptop on the living room couch downstairs every night before bed. The plan is coming together. I get home, head to the couch, the laptop is there. I open it and take 2 guesses at the password. It's the birth year of our daughter. I go to her Facebook. I look in messages. There it is. 6 months of conversation with a guy named Ron. Some of the conversation is flirty. Some is banter about how useless and less of a man I am. The worst part, though, was the revelation that this guy is who she feels is the biological father, and she is trying to get him involved. I scroll and scroll until I can't stomach it anymore. I grab the laptop, pick it upstairs, and set it on her with the screen shining in her face. As she slowly wakes up, I say, "We're talking about this in the morning," and walked back downstairs. She normally wakes up at 7 but didn't come down until 9. Probably hoping I would be asleep on the couch. She begins by saying it was only friendly talk and not technically cheating. I called bullshit and told her that if I see this again, I'm gone. Now I said if, but I knew better. It would be when. This is when I set my plan in motion. I dropped out of college to get a job in my field and made sure anything that was opened up under credit was under her name. I began stating that back where I'm from has a better economy and that we'd be better off there. It took 2 years of convincing, but it worked. Nothing was under my name, and we were set to go to my hometown in 6 months. We got there in May, and I sent her home to visit next the month. I knew what she would do and who she would do it with. There was a guy we met through Sam the day before we left, and I knew immediately that she was interested in him. 3 weeks after going to visit, she started acting strange again. Prioritizing other things over me, putting things off, and becoming distant. Now I spent 2 years setting the dominoes up, I just let her knock them over. I made sure I was jobless, had nothing to my name, and was home where I could fall back on family. I pressured her into admitting that she cheated and the dominoes tumbled. I cut all funds that were being sent to the account, drained the account to file for divorce. I had nothing so she couldn't take half. I had no job, so what lifestyle did we have that would require giving her alimony? Everything was in her name, so even though I had financial responsibility over some of those bills, the divorce lasted long enough to destroy her credit. I gave her everything and sacrificed much to raise her child, but in the end she lost the most. I am now extremely successful and valued in my career. I'm not interested in marriage, but I have no shortage of women in my life. Life is good. I still have contact with the daughter, and Bree often flirts with me trying to get me back. I'm the only dad the kid has known and have no intentions of becoming an ex-dad. Even though getting back with her is emotionally tempting, to be with the kid more I know better and I have better options. Edit, due to a large volume of people thinking I intentionally hurt the child to get at the mom, I'll clarify. The kid is supported above and beyond despite no legal requirement to do more than just the minimum. Clothes, shoes, bed, games, toys, hobbies. I pay for it all. The kid is very much involved in my life and she is provided for. I drop everything to talk to her and I get involved in what she loves. I don't get to see her much, but there's very little that she longs for except living with me. The kid is mine regardless of genetics. I made that investment in her life from the start and I'm sticking to it. I worked very hard to keep her isolated from this revenge. She is happy and loves her daddy very much. I don't shit talk her mom to her and she has a healthy relationship with both of us. Even though she wishes mommy and daddy were together, she is understanding that it's not going to happen, and I'm working very hard to make sure that the impact of that is softened. If you enjoyed the video, please leave like, comment and subscribe to my channel. It really helps a lot. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, you must be colorblind to ignore all the red flags, but well played anyway. Redditor follow-up, young and dumb my friend. Young and dumb. I was never taught the things that I had to learn the hard way, and this was definitely one of them. That's the difference between 19 me and 27 me. Redditor 2, I've always felt there was a correlation between being in the military and finding the one at 19 and getting married at 20. Redditor follow-up, you aren't friggin' lying. The army has a bad habit of incentivizing this by making single soldiers live in barracks that hardly qualify as suitable living conditions, while married soldiers get to live off post in nice apartments and homes. Just want to say that's not why I did it. I actually liked my brick walls and gaming station in the barracks. I just chased love too much when I was young. I was ready to make a bad decision from the start. Wish I could slap myself, but I got a wonderful daughter out of it, so there's a win. Redditor 3, personally, I think sticking it out with someone you dislike for 2 years just to get revenge on them is sociopathic and narcissistic. But that's just me. I wouldn't let anyone ruin my life for 2 years just to get revenge on them. Redditor follow-up, just to clarify, as all of it couldn't be said in the post because my phone was taking a dump. I stayed with her to convince her to move back to my home near my family. I lived over 1,000 miles away, and immediately acting on the plan would have left me homeless and far from help. This is why home needed to happen. I had a place to fall back on when she pulled her crap. I flew her home so she wasn't stranded in my hometown. Last act of kindness before letting her world burn. Redditor 4, friend, I guess you did wreck her pretty good, but I don't get that big ol' hug of schadenfreude that comes from a satisfying post. Honestly, it just seems like a series of terrible life choices by all parties before ending in total destruction at the expense of a kid. I hope you've grown out of this stage and are bringing more kindness into the world. Redditor follow-up, I'd encourage you to look at some of my comments on other comments like yours. I did my best to ensure the kid was taken care of and still has a father in the picture. I support all the kid's needs despite not legally being required to. I make an active effort to be a positive role model in her life despite the downright devious actions I am capable of. Redditor 5, ProRevenge is staying in a broken relationship for 2 extra years while being completely detached from acting like any form of an adult. Yeah, congrats on running 2+ years of your life. If this is real, I'm guessing you were just failing in your life as a result of being depressed and in a miserable relationship. And then you pulled an LOL, it was all on purpose the whole time. I'm so smart. Either way, you both sound awful. Redditor follow-up, either you can't read or you don't understand that the 2 years was to ensure I wasn't left homeless 1,000 miles from my hometown by prematurely breaking things off. But yeah, you're right, I should have called it off and put myself in another bad situation. Why didn't I think of that? You're so smart. Redditor 6, how young and dumb you can be? Redditor follow-up, very young and very dumb. Like I said in a different comment thread, I was never taught the danger in something like this and honestly wasn't taught about women at all, so sadly I had to figure this stuff out the hard way.